It's July 24th, 2020. The birthday of Utah. Happy birthday, Utah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, the place where polygamous Brigham Young came to escape the strictures of the eastern and central American continent back in the day, so that they could do their own, so that the Mormons could do their own thing here in Utah. The place where people come from all over the world to see pictures like this. Happy birthday, Utah. So I was using the Mormon Church website to check out my ancestors, because the Mormons have this thing about trying to get dead people into their church by activities in their temples. In any case, they have a nice genealogy program going, so that they can get all the names of people, so they can baptism for the dead, marriage for the dead, and temple endowments for the dead. That's where you learn the secret handshakes and secret phrases to get into the Mormon highest level of heaven. They do all that for the dead. And anyway, so I was looking there, and it's, a lot of information, and I was kind of plugging in my own information, the fact that I'm married, the fact that I have kids. And I was going back both branches of my parents. It was interesting how it kind of peters out around 1600, 1550 at the earliest, and then nothing. So pretty much the start of the Western Enlightenment project. But also, it's quite true that the Christian churches facilitated the recording of marriages and births, stuff like that. So anyway, so yeah, there's that. But anyway, the Mormon Church has some bad aspects. They still interrogate children and adults with regard to sexual matters, thereby driving some of those people to be ultra-leftist reactionaries in response. They still do that. They still will kick you out if you don't verbally state that, if you don't give lip service to the fact that, like Joseph Smith is a prophet and you believe in the current prophets and all this stuff. So they do things that other churches don't do. And they also, they claim to be for family, but really, if you are a person in a family that goes to the Mormon Church and you don't really believe, or you say, well, okay, like, I'll let my wife go and kids go, but I don't really believe, then the Mormon Church essentially sets itself up as above you as a father. Whoever is, this is what they call them in the Mormon Church. They call them part member families. So if you're the part that's not a member, you are shit. You are out. You are on the outs. Okay? That's just the way it is. And so still elements of a cult. Let's call it a Fortune 500 cult, a corporatist cult. The Mormon Church is a corporatist cult, and it does abuse children and adults in various ways. Hijacking people's emotions, hijacking people's brains. They also subvert normal, healthy sexuality via teaching kids that whacking off will make you a faggy fag. That's a lie. Whacking off didn't make me a faggy fag. It made me a person who wanted to have a normal relationship with a woman. And anyway, but if you abuse kids that way, by telling them, by having forced interviews, then it's quite true that you're going to have a situation where there are some people who will be driven to the waiting tranny freak arms of the LGBTQ PZ Stonewall people, the people who are robbed of inherent reproduction. So you get the exact opposite result by this systematic child and adult abuse. The evangelical Christian approach is a lot more healthy. Okay? I mean, if you're going to look at how religions do things, the evangelical Christian approach to sexuality is more healthy. Sex is there. Can we call it for God-given reasons? And myself as an atheist, that the word God-given reasons equates to evolution with natural selection given reasons. Why can I make that direct equivalence? Because religions couch evolved morality, and religions are evolutionary mechanisms. They're fully natural. So the word God is a natural word. The word heaven is a natural word. Anyway, is that bursting your fucking bubble as a leftist atheist? Anyway, so it's a complicated situation. And I was listening to, let's see, got a hiker. I was listening to Brett Weinstein yesterday. Let me walk past this hiker. Just a moment here. Okay, keep on going. Hello. Hi. I was listening to Brett Weinstein yesterday. Got another hiker. And it was his 4th of July joint podcast with his wife, Heather. And he was talking about how, George Washington was a complicated man. And true, he had slaves, but he was also a good man too, in some ways. And so, to that, let me just make a side comment on that. And that is that the men who founded America had Western Enlightenment values in their hearts. And yes, some had slaves and some didn't. And some wanted to have America start as being a place where there wouldn't be slavery. And also, one of the reasons that the United States was started was because Britain was mandating slavery. And we didn't like that. So how's that for a wrinkle in the situation? But in any case, the Western Enlightenment values in the hearts of the founders of the United States eventually led to the end of universal slavery, as well as 365,000 dead Northern Army soldiers during the American Civil War. That helped end universal slavery. Okay, more hikers. Hi. So anyway, with regard to George Washington, it's not just a matter of people being complicated. It's a matter of, okay, all of human history and non-history had slavery, and then suddenly we had a situation where people had some memes in their brains which prompted them to want to end slavery. What were those memes? So, okay, it was a kind of a gradual process, but let's give credit where credit is due. Give credit where credit is due. So, I guess we could also say, by using that same Brett Weinstein terminology, Brigham Young was a complicated man. He was a guy who got shit done. That's true. I mean, you say that about anybody, I guess. Another hiker. Brigham Young was a guy who got shit done. That's true. And he had Porter Rockwell, long-haired. It's almost like a long-haired biker dude, enforcer guy. He had his military arm. He had his enforcer. Porter Rockwell's enforcer, and Porter Rockwell reportedly had his own brewery back in the days when Mormons weren't so puritanical about the consumption of alcohol. Anyway, those were the good old days and the bad old days, but they also had the Mountain Meadow massacre in southern Utah, where they killed some travelers through Utah. Some Mormons did. Mountain Meadow Massacre, check that out. Next time the Mormon missionaries knock on your door, ask them, what about the fucking Mountain Meadow Massacre? I mean, goodness, can't your church operate without killing a bunch of fucking innocent people who are just trying to get through Utah? What the fuck? What the fuck's up with your fucking murderous church? You stupid fucks. You can use that phrase exactly when the Mormon missionaries come to your door. I give you permission to do that because I was a former Mormon missionary. Okay, you have a Mormon missionary pass to ask that. You can ask them other questions too. Okay, so Brigham Young was a go-getter. He got shit done. He also had 40 wives. He also had a 15-year-old wife. I guess they married him young back in the day, but on the other hand, I think 14, 15 is too young, especially in a polygamous type situation. Plus his wives, some of them were still legally married to other men. Same thing with Joseph Smith. That's called adultery. And I guess fornication. Fornication. So, the founders of the Mormon Church are not great examples with regard to sexual morality. So, when people like Boyd Packer came out with his little factory pamphlet about how men have a little factory, and if you make the factory go too fast, well, God gets upset, and if you touch your wiener, then God is going to get upset, and you can't go to the Mormon Temple if you touch your wiener in the Mormon Church. As a boy coming of age, Boyd Packer. Contrast and then Spencer Kimball too. Spencer Kimball, in 1982, he came out with the anti-oral sex letter. Yes, the words oral sex were in that letter from the first presidency of the Mormon Church. Prophets of God, the first presidency. Contrast that. Contrast Boyd Packer's Little Factory pamphlet. You can search for that online. Contrast that Spencer Kimball's oral sex letter, 1982. You can find that letter online pretty easily using those keyword searches. Contrast that with the sexual morality of Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. So, yeah, it's interesting how humans can be drawn into cults and stuff. I guess we should be grateful that Brigham Young wasn't Jim Jones. At least he didn't give Kool-Aid to his followers. Yeah. More hikers. Too many hikers.
Good morning.
Hi.
Oh my goodness.
Advanced?
Wow.
It's like the people who could have been on like the BYU volleyball team.
Hi. Right, so you contrast the Spencer Kimball, Boyd Packer situation with the sexual morality of the founders of Mormonism. There's a contrast there. Compare and contrast. But religions in general lean toward, traditional religions that is, they lean toward inherent reproduction. And they are evolutionary engines. Okay.
What I was doing, and at some point I looked up and I was like, oh. And I'm like, good morning.
Hi. There's 1 zillion people coming up the trail. Religions are evolutionary engines. Because, in part, the memes that produce genes are favored. So, yeah, that's the bottom line. So, you can red pill out of religion, but if your red pilling results in being robbed of inherent reproduction, then you're basically fucked. You're fucked. You need to do some more red pilling and reconnect with a path toward reproduction and inherent reproduction. And aside from Mormonism, which will basically shit can you if you don't want to kiss the ass of Joseph Smith and Brigham Young and the subsequent prophets of Mormonism, they'll shit can you. There may be other religions which don't. And I guess my message for the evangelical Christians is, there's people like me who, we don't really believe in the little Judas anymore, but we're fully online with all of your social goals. Pro-life, pro-children, pro-family, anti-postmodernism, anti-Stonewall, anti-LGBTQPZ. We're anti-death cult. We're pro-life. So when you're anti-death cult and pro-life, you're looking for allies. And so my hands are open for allies, but you know, you don't shit can me by saying, well, atheism in and of itself doesn't make people immoral. It's only when atheism causes you to forget what human history is and what human nature is, then it fucks people up. So postmodernism is the root of all evil. Postmodernism, you got to be technically accurate with your words. Leftist atheism, which ties into postmodernism, does make people less moral. And my own wife, who's from China, one key thing that helped me red pill out of leftism was my observation that my wife is a family values woman, but she's kind of mostly an atheist. I mean, mostly pretty much, yes. Mostly all, not just mostly, but kind of completely an atheist, but she values family. She, you know, respect the elders, respect your family. Now, I mean, she did as with many people in modern culture, she got some kind of current cultural brainwashing a little bit, but a lot less than your average American woman, you know, a lot less than your average American woman. So there is a cultural current. Don't let the left or the current or the current cultural current rob you of your place on the great mandala of life. Don't let it happen. And that's maybe the legacy of Utah. I'm going to speak the truth about abuses on all sides. Yes, the Mormon Church is abusive, but they also have some good aspects. They are generally pro-life, pro-family. They also shoot themselves in the foot with regard to these sexually explicit interviews, like I outlined, and by telling boys that whacking off will make you a faggy fag. Yes, that's absolutely child abuse. And it absolutely will, those type of words will have the exact opposite effect. So, okay, just call out abuse, but identify what's good also. Okay? And the rest of the world, they don't know crap about Utah other than the fact, well, I guess one thing people know is Utah's a damn pretty place. So people come here from all over the world to see pictures like this. And I've got easy access. Biatch, to great hiking trails. So how about that? But the house prices are going up too much. I agree with that too. Don't turn us into fucking California. Too expensive. Fuck. Okay. Anyway, happy birthday, Utah. For better and for worse. And if my ancestors hadn't come here, well, you know, my ancestors sacrificed a lot to come here, so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful. And, you know, the rough and tumble world of the Mormon Church back in the day had some attractive points. Also had some bad points. Meadows massacre, bad. Brigham Young and polygamy, bad. I mean, polygamy in general. Brigham Young having his own kind of theocracy, bad. But just because I say all those words doesn't mean what the cultural left has to offer is any better. It's worse. It's worse because the cultural left will fucking rob you of a life with children. Butler Fork Trail. They'll rob you of your place on the Great Mandela. They'll rob you of your 1.2 billion year evolved heritage. 1.2 billion that being the time sex has existed here on this planet in the first place. So that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. Okay. So that's the end of my vid for today. All right. Go party, because it's Utah's birthday. Have a bit of Johnny Walker Black on me. Well, virtually on me. No way for me to pay for it, but because of me, or because Utah's birthday, have some Porter Rockwell. Hey, there's a Porter Rockwell Jägermeister similar one. That's pretty good. Porter Rockwell, similar, Jägermeister, similar stuff. I took that to China once. Let my wife's family check it out. It's pretty good. All right, that's it.